Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Creatives Chat, episode 35, featuring Jesse Marshall. Join us as we chat about who knows what. Our show shall begin now. Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
wearehistorically.com, Conscious Human Apparel, and
Learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Creatives Chat. Hello, I'm Rusty.
I'm Peter.
And Peter, tell our viewers who we have lined up on our show today.
Oh, Rusty, I'm super excited to have on this entrepreneur, this creative spirit. He truly is starting a revolutionary project here in Seattle. And on top of that, he's one of the most passionate and heartfelt people I've gotten a chance to meet. He's a real one. I'm excited to introduce the Creative Chats audience to Jesse Marshall. Again, you may know him from our Raise the Cake fundraiser and My Sweet Lil Cakes. So let's chat with Jesse.
Yes, I am excited to hear all about this. I'm going to be in the back taking notes. In the meantime, everybody, here's Jesse.
Oh, welcome, Jesse. I'm so excited to have you on Creatives Chat. How have you been, man?
I'm great. I'm doing well, thanks.
Well, I know the last time we got to chat was during the little fundraiser for My Sweet Lil Cakes, but what have you been up to since the lockdowns continued and kind of been going on for almost a year now?
Yeah, well, I've been busy. I keep the wheels spinning, and kind of came up with a new concept, an idea, and have kind of turned that into a new small business we just launched.
No way. Okay, so one of the things that I've really became quickly enamored by is the fact that you have this entrepreneurial just go get it mentality. So why don't you explain the new project for the listeners?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say with My Sweet Lil Cakes, we're still alive. There's still park. We're just kind of putting everything on ice and laying low and trying to wait out the storm, so to speak, with the pandemic. Because as you well know, most of what we do is catering, and so 90% of our business are now work from home. So they're not having the same kind of gatherings and functions as they once were. So. But we're still there, so I'm not trying to hang it up. But as far as more current projects, CacheBox Amenity or CacheBox Amenity is my new project. It's essentially I call it high-end amenity machines, and all they showcase are local talent. So local shelf-stable products from Ethan Stoll pasta to salami by Salumi to Theo's chocolates, Seattle chocolates, Joe's chocolates, John Boy caramel. I mean, the list goes on. And what I wanted to do was create a space where local, recognizable farmers market quality, shelf-stable food items could still be sold and still reach their intended market and audience, which is, residents of Seattle. And so the idea came to me, and it just quickly gained steam. I was lucky enough to, start working with a really cool designer, formerly of Dope Magazine, and just had some great resources, local resources of folks that wanted to kind of jump in and help creatively. And, it came together quickly. So these machines, the CacheBox machines, can be found in downtown apartment and central district apartment lobbies. Most of them are, security controlled lobbies, just because the items that we have in here are, they're great items. We have, smoked salmon and spreadable cheeses, and you can do like a whole little charcuterie set if you wanted to.
What?
Pretty cool. And then, I failed to mention that that's half the 3/4 of the machine. The other quarter of the machine is just daily essential items. So like what would you need on a quick trip to the store, and how much of that could be found local. So, everyone's wearing masks. So outdoor research is a local Northwest cornerstone. And so we were able to get their masks and sell them in the machine. We doing these shows from REI, convenience items like batteries, hair products, daily essential items like, there's a company called Handmade in LaConner. Now, Handmade in LaConner, they are, they're kind of boutique, but they do, beauty products, they do healthcare, skin, they do home, like dish pods, washing detergent, and stuff like that. All natural, super high-end, high-quality ingredients. And so some of these names that are, known throughout the Northwest will now be available from the comforts of, Seattleites' lobbies coming soon.
That's wild. Yo, that's so cool, because you really did just eliminate one of the biggest issues that most people have right now with the pandemic, and that's leaving their home.
Right. And that was, it was kind of just like my answer to that call. If you're hearing this public outcry for, social distancing, which we all love, right? But it's harder to get at things, and harder than that is that it's harder for the marketers, the Seattle-based businesses, the small businesses, to get their stuff into people's hands. I mean, they have this merchandise they need to keep putting out. And like, the fact that you can't get to them sucks. Yeah, you can't get your chocolates, but the fact that they can't get those chocolates to you presents, from one angle, an even bigger problem, because that's an entire livelihood, an entire dream, an entire passion that's been invested for who knows how many years, that's now hanging in the balance. And so it felt like a win-win. It gave us the opportunity to curate items that we thought were amazing from all around the Northwest. It gave Northwest businesses a chance to get right back into the heart where they should be, center stage. And it also, I think, as an amenity, it's a great thing for properties, because they're actually getting to connect with these like high-end farmers markets and keep their buildings safe at the same time. So we do things like, we have UV lights inside of the machines. So UV lights, they're germicidal.
Yeah.
They're known to just wipe out COVID. So anything that's falling out of that machine has been doused in a germicidal UV light just prior to buying it. We have touchless pay options. So if you have Google Pay or Apple Pay, you can just walk up and boop, and and then within the machines, of course, we have sani pads, bleach pads, hand sanitizer, all the things that you would want to stay safe and healthy. And so the idea is that if we can even cut off a few cases from coming into a building, that could save significant numbers of people significant time and improve their health, and overall just be kind of looking out for them.
That's amazing. And I think this is one of the reasons why, instantly when I just heard about your story and just kind of like your upbringing, just like really just from the hustle mentality to just the creative entrepreneurship mindset, I think this is one revolutionary concept that's a huge pivot. And I guess I just want to know, like, how your brain works. Like, how did you come to this understanding of just like, I want to do something new. Let's go ahead and revolutionize the way that, local small businesses get their products to the people. Like that just seems to come out of nowhere. I love it.
Well, it's just one of those things. Necessity is the mother of invention. And we get to this point sometimes where we literally, we don't have a choice but to think of something else. With Sweet Cakes, we have been doing this ongoing GoFundMe. Shout out Kuina Sudarth for setting that up and taking the reins this entire time. I love you for that. Thank you. We just had to do something. I had to think, and when I say we, I mean me. I had to think of something, And so I remember the night I was just literally up, just kind of just scanning the internet and all, like I was looking at eBay, I was looking at OfferUp, I was looking at Craigslist, and I came across these 6 just look new vending machines. Now, up until that minute, I never had any specific interest in opening up a vending machine company. I just hadn't thought outside of the box with it. I'd always thought vending machines, Snickers, Cokes, things like that. And I've heard they make money, but I never knew, and I never had any passion to explore. Well, I saw these machines, and I was just looking at them, and I remember opening it up and looking at each photo and being like, well, what if one of these could pass under the radar into one of these amazing lobbies of condos. I immediately thought hotels. I immediately thought condos. I immediately thought of luxury apartments. And I was like, what if they would let us have one? Now, as a former concierge, I worked in hospitality for almost 10 years. I happen to know that they don't allow vending machines into hotel condo lobbies. They have HOAs.
Mhm.
No way. We put way too much work into this lobby, into the aesthetics of this, to have some junky machine spill and pop and all that all over our lobby. So the idea already on its face kind of has I don't want to say a black eye, but there's a place for vending machines in the in the minds of most of the public. You know, it's in a stadium, it's in a high school, it's in a certain area, you know, a sports club, something like that, but not in a main, like a nice lobby. You know, it would dumb down the aesthetic in many ways. So I had to be sure to make, you know, just double sure that everything we were doing had a purpose and was a cut above. So that's kind of the approach we took. You know, I knew from the beginning that these would be amenities that once people learned what they were and got to enjoy them, I see no reason why they wouldn't continue to come back. You know, what we've done is and I say we've, when I say this, I mean working in collaboration with over 35 local small businesses, we've come to a fair price that we can deliver these things, these items, to the consumer, to the residents, for virtually no sticker markup. So what that means is there's no shipping, there's no delivery, and it's just as convenient as, you know, hopping in your elevator, going down to floor 1 or your amenity room and grabbing the snacks you need. You know?
Wow.
So.
Well, that's huge. And I think that's one of the things right there is there's been I think throughout this pandemic, we've lost more than 60% of like local small businesses all throughout the country.
It's a wave, man. It's a shocking wave. Every other day I saw one of my friends say, that's it, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity. And I think that's the thing right there is when you're not given an opportunity in life, you have to make it. And I think it's very much a hand-in-hand process where, you know, the creative expression and the dreamer concept is that you have to really want something more to get something more. So to me, I mean, I think anyone could have just seen those vending machines and dismissed it, but you see something that I like to say as, you know, a true optimist or a true doer in certain aspects of like how you see the world. And I guess the biggest thing is where you see, in one case, many see just a regular vending machine, you saw an opportunity. And I'm just very curious, like 35 local businesses is quite the network. How did that really kind of like snowball and kind of come together?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. You know, oddly enough, that was the easiest part of the whole project. I'm not kidding. Like, okay, so you know, of course, when you're cold calling, like Ethan Stoll, for instance, or when you're cold calling, you know, some of these people I had some background with just because of my years of service as a concierge, right? But some of them, many of them I've never met, and I have never had the fortune of meeting, and I know all about what they do. So everybody who I brought in were like mine and my small team's favorites, like our picks. Like, man, we want to try this, we want to try that, and like out of like 36, I think 37 vendors that we reached out to, I think that we have those first 35. It was all yes. See, everybody wanted to be a part of it because it's a collaboration and it's something that, you know, it just goes to show the heart of the city and the willingness of these, you know, like I call them cornerstone marketers and store owners to collaborate to try to get people their food. They love you guys. They love Seattle. They love the residents. They want to get you their stuff. And so the idea is that somebody will go down there, they'll try some John Boy caramel, and then they'll order up a whole case. Or they'll go, hey, this is a local Seattle treat. Why not, you know, send this to one of our friends in a gift box? Or, you know, there'll be different options and ways that, you know, people can get a hold of these things that just wasn't there or wasn't as present just prior to COVID. So you know, one of the good things that's come out of this is, you know, when I felt that pressure on me to, you know, with Sweet Cakes, you know, I want to do something else. But I was like, to jump into my own new small business, personally doing another product felt like a limited venture, because really what I wanted to do was right now, the town needs love, man. These small businesses, they need love. Like they're too proud to beg. They're too proud to beg, but they need help. Like with Sweet Cakes, it's the same thing. It's hard to tell people like, hey, support us. Like we've put our life into this and we're the best. You know, it's not, you know, we are buy my little cookie, you know, it's like, no, this is actually a great product that everyone should try. So, you know, that's the idea. Working with the vendors was easy. I got on the phone. I introduced myself. I told them who I was. I told them a little bit about my background. And I asked them to tell me their story. And most of those conversations lasted an hour, you know,
wow,
where I just got to sit there and after the second or third call, man, it put a lump in my throat because it was like talking to me. It was like somebody called me on the phone with Sweet Cakes and wanted to know, like, tell me your story. Tell me your blood, sweat, and tears. Tell me, like, they all had the same passion, and you could feel it. You could hear it when they talk about where they source their ingredients from, you know, why their product is the best. I mean, no, they're not even trying to sell themselves. This is who they are, you know? And so getting to be a part of that, it just overshadowed any like individual project I could have ever wanted to work on. And it sparked a passion in me to help be a conduit or an avenue for these folks to get some more sales. I don't know how many. I don't care. I want to just be there to help push and promote this town. I was raised here. I've been here my whole life. I grew up, you know, around town, downtown. You know, everybody knew me. And so just to be a part of a project that could give back in this way, I'm actually humbled to be the person that gets to go and give this to people, you know, because it's not me. I'm just the box, you know. But these folks, man, they're the heart and soul of this town. So make sure if you have an HOA or if you have a residential manager or if you see an opportunity where one of these machines might do well, be sure to reach out. You know, it's really as easy as jumping on our website or finding us on Instagram.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one of the things where I want to bring it back to. You talk about that concept of, you know, people need love right now, and I think what you've done is really create an outlet for light, you know, for love, for unity, for community to really shine through. And I really do see this as a potential future of what we call, you know, the vending machine, you know, having, I like how you put it, the amenity box, because it's one of those aspects where it's like,
amenity box, yes,
exactly, because it's like, it brings you to that point where
yeah,
I could see this replacing, and I don't mean to like fully replace, but I mean, I think this could be a great benefit to farmers markets, not just Seattle, but any city that has local artists, you know, and local creations that are struggling right now. Like I could literally see this being a new model for the future. And this is why, you know, I respect the realness of you, Jesse, is because you're creating something that has real potential out here. And it's really important for, you know, listeners, viewers, support your local businesses. And this is like the easiest way possible. People want to end the Amazon big monopolies. It's like, all right, then bring it to your door. And that's the opportunity that I see where I'm like, man, you really do have a coalition of some great, amazing local artists, or I could say local products.
I like artists.
And yeah, I mean, they are artists with how much love they're putting in there.
Hey, if anybody sweats that hard for their craft, they're an artist.
Right? Well, I think it's funny that you said that, you know, I felt like I was talking to me and that lump was in the throat, because when you do have something that you really see as your vision and your purpose and you put your heart and soul into it, it transcends just a basic commodity. And that's why I think the amenity is the perfect word for it.
Yeah, we really work hard, even in all of our contractual agreements, to the verbiage is important, like what we're being referred to, because we are something different. You know, it's like calling a Lamborghini a Fiero or a Miata. I mean, they look the same. They're both a car technically from the outside. The shell might, but what's inside of them, what's under the hood, is completely different. And so I'm doing my best. And I think that it's kind of once people, they get it, bing, the light bulb goes out. It's not a vending machine anymore. Like, this is different. You know, when you can go down here and you can get your mask, your hand sanitizer, you can get household products. You can also get enough food to sustain yourself. Like if there was company coming over, there's some salmon plates, there's some salami slices, there's some cheese and crackers, there's some candy and some little fruits and, you know, jerkies, and there's pho. I mean, you can get pho out of this machine.
What?
Yeah, minis. Pike Place Market Classic. Yeah.
Dude, and see, right there that's magic. I think that's like a modern day miracle where you can really put the technology to its full advantage, and that is giving everyone a really genuine hometown experience.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Farmers market, a little 35 booth farmers market right in your lobby.
That's so cool. Well, in terms of the kind of how this project's evolving, what are the next steps?
Good question. Well, right now it's a matter of managing the flow. Since we started, we've only been out for, I guess, since New Year's Eve, and
Oh, wow.
Already I'm getting organic interest. So mainly from properties,
Mm.
contractors and architect firms, and people are somehow seeing it and quit calling and saying, what are the measurements of these? Like, we may be interested in this. So my goal is to get as many SKUs as possible, and by SKUs I just mean as many different products and items, and work with as many vendors as we possibly can. Now, to what degree and to when we could actually purchase from them, we're working right now to understand that. But we want to offer our residents, our properties that we're going to be placed at, a long list of options. So if they would like to be added to that list of options for future, purchase, absolutely. Because what we want to do is we want to give people what they want. And so if we can add 100 SKUs and we can only fit 35, great. That means that there's all those other potentials and possibilities, like a shopping list for our future clients, our future placement. So people choose what they want to see in their machine.
How do you find the time in the day to coordinate and plan and really execute all of these ideas, man?
Yeah, well, that's almost like a whole nother story. I mean, it's a dedication. You have to give up other things. You have to give up other things, and so that's what it's been. It's been that dedication, that thing that says, I was 13, I was 14, I was 15, and I knew what a park bench felt like. I slept outside. I was a kid that lived in the streets, and so there's something when I say the same thing. I meet people sometimes from other countries that don't have it so well, and we relate immediately. They're like, I came from the dirt. I'm like, I came from the dirt. They're like, I know what you mean. Seeds grow from the dirt. And so it's just, it's like I was that kid, like downtown, looking up and saying, someday I'm gonna run this down. And people being like, shut up, dude. No, you're not. Go back to sleep. Like someday. I've been dreaming the same things, like big, since I could remember. And so that's what keeps me up. Is just that drive, because I remember what hunger feels like. And so I always wanted to just have a foundation of some kind. So I just never stopped working, and now it's my passion. I don't see my friends and my family as much. Dating sucks, but I got this new puppy though. I got my new puppy Astro. So
I love it. Well, I think right there is the testament to your character in that sense, where it's that dedication and drive, where there's a will, there's a way. And it's that concept of really manifesting what it is you want. And right there is, again, I really hope that the listeners can take away from everything you've said thus far, is just put yourself out there. Like, anybody could have just glanced over the machines rather than actually taking another look at it and really digging deeper and just calling these businesses. Like, I can't tell you how many times in my own life, until I really learned the lesson, I sold myself short. I cut my own opportunities out from not getting out there. And I think that's one thing that everyone can always do, is like, the universe will reward you with that opportunity when you act courageously to really just put yourself in the position for a yes or no and see what happens.
Seriously, that's a huge part of it. It's just getting used to dedicating yourself fully. And that's one part of it that we don't really understand. Like we hear about work-life balance, which is a great way to tread water. From unless you've been given some step that can get you up. Work-life balance for me has been a great way to tread water. Is to stay right at a certain particular point and never advance. And so it's a sacrifice. That's all I'm saying. It's a sacrifice. On top of the sacrifice of the work, you're sacrificing what else you would be doing and other relationships you'd be building and other, you know what I mean? So it's like pearl diving. You know, these old guys, you know, they used to dive down there and come up with something, you know, something pretty. But after years and years and years, you know, they go down there, you know, it's the water pressure, your eardrums get shot, you know, pretty soon you have bad hearing. It's just like, it takes a toll. The pressure takes a toll. So you have to be sure to come up for air. And that's one of the things that, like, I've been working on. You know, I've just been like last summer was like, I finally took some time off after I think like 8 years of just like, go, you know, not counting the days, not counting the weekends that I worked straight through 7 days a week, you know, like, it stopped mattering. It stopped, you know, it didn't matter anymore. It was just part of the flow. And so now I'm more aware of it. And with this project, you know, getting to kind of like shine the light on other businesses and getting to think about other businesses. I mean, I've been writing, you know, our Instagram's exciting. You go on there and there's all these bios that we've written from interviewing all these different, you know, Seattle, and those will continue to come out, you know, because what we're trying to do here is showcase put the attention where it belongs. And the fact that, you know, I'm not doing for a while, and it's not the bow tie with the hat, or I'm not doing, you know, it's not Born Poet with the microphone. No one's really looking at me, and everyone's, you know, the attention's being directed at this, where it should be, at these Seattle businesses that are in a position of distribution now, in a space where they weren't yesterday or last week. So I think that's exciting.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it comes back to that point too, where it's anytime you find that you get a bunch of people, creatives, art, like whatever you want to call it, when you get people that like attracts like, when everyone's in that same intention and purpose, and everyone has that same level of passion, that's just masterclass level, this is where real magical things can happen. And the way I see it right now, again, is, you know, I said it earlier, this is a revolutionary concept. And I wish you the best with it, because honestly, it sounds so dope. And I could see it in gaming stadium, like game stadiums. Think about it, like Seahawk, like I don't know what's going to be called. I'm sure it's not CenturyLink anymore. It got sold, but like, you know, see it at the arena, see it at Safeco or T-Mobile. No, it's cool. And it's the sense that you have it's like Buckminster Fuller, right? Anytime you want to create a new system, it just has to be efficient enough where the old one's going to go obsolete. I do see this changing the game for how food and how really just like consumer boutique items get put into the user's hands or in the consumer's mouths.
Let's hope. You know, like that's the idea. And I would love that. I would love this to be a regional approach. You know, right now we're in the Pacific Northwest, but there are many other regions across the country, across the globe, that have, you know, local specific, top shelf stable products and small businesses that are hurting. So the idea would be that Seattle would be, you know, the pilot for a much larger, you know, idea, so that we can continue this on, you know, state by state, region by region, and hopefully, you know, cover the country eventually, and, you know, have a new way of reaching direct to consumer, direct to so these folks that are producing these items.
Well, it's a future, like the way I see it is, again, it's that forward progressive, you know, insights that you have that you're able to tap into from the universal waves. Because if we think about it, this is the way that I see, at least, how you can really compete with all the big conglomerates and these giant superstores that we now see sometimes have to close. You know, the easiest way to make sure that you're never going to lose a strain of market is to always have a market that's at your like, I guess you could say, your consumer's door.
Yeah.
It comes back to the concept of love. And I think it stands out to me still, because when you said, you know, these companies need love, you know, like these businesses need love. This is how I see the future developing, is really trying to increase the humanity behind everything that we do in society, and the way that we can consume products, and the way that we can really support businesses. For me, I feel like is this opportunity to escape the old systems and enter into a new era of love by having the direct to consumer market, by eliminating the middleman of like the Amazons that have destroyed so many businesses. So the future really does, I think, hold a huge opportunity for something like this.
So, you know, I just want to remain committed to community is the number one thing. I want to make sure that, you know, that we are locally based, that we are locally supported. There's, you know, one of the cool parts about our model is there's no shipping involved for us. We either do, it's either picked up or dropped off. It's negotiated between us and these companies. It's like, it's very
Wow.
old school, like all these like very famously Seattle companies are like, you can just come and pick it up at my door, like these people, wow, like these are real small businesses that have like expanded, and they're willing to go that extra mile for us to get the product to them without the markup. And that's huge. That's huge. Or if there is one, it's negatable. It's just like something so small because we had to cover some expense of packaging or something like that to make it make sense, right? But that's really cool. I think that as long as that's our mantra, always local, always fresh, and committed to community, I think those are very powerful ideologies. They sound simple, but it's so easy to just hop on, even for me nowadays, just to hop on, who knows what, and just buy something from who knows where because it's a great deal, and just not take that extra step to go and find some chocolate or find some, some other items that are locally based, right? But if it was right there for me, I don't see why I wouldn't do it, especially if it actually tastes better, the quality is actually better. There's no reason why not.
I love that. The one thing that highlights and sticks out for me, I guess, is that commitment to community. I guess the real question I have, what makes you so inspired to serving this Pacific Northwest Seattle community?
I grew up here my whole life, it'd probably be bragging to say that nobody knows the city better than I do. And I can't say that anymore, to be honest. I can't say that anymore. But growing up, downtown was my backyard. My parents met on 3rd and Pine, where the McDonald's is, 40 years ago was Orange Julius. I was born at Virginia Mason. My mom's worked downtown, so I was downtown every day. I ran through the Pike's Place Market, climbed up fire escapes, knew every back alley, every, little hole in the wall spot in this town. I mean, as a young teenager, that's how I grew up. And not a lot of kids my age grew up like that downtown. There were a few, but I was the young generation coming up. And so, being an artist, connecting with the Seattle artists, connecting with I feel like I've been in every building, every nook and cranny of the city. The downtown just didn't feel that big to me anymore. And I saw the wave coming, I was like, man, this wave, I remember reading about it. I remember seeing a story in the Seattle Times where they showed from Alki that picture of the Seattle skyline, but then they showed an outline, just these outlines, empty outlines of all the different construction projects that had already been approved. And so they're showing basically, here's the skyline, but then here's what's going to look like in 10 years. And that, I remember thinking 10 years, and that really stuck with me, that I knew that I had 10 years to figure out a way to transition. I recognized that way ahead of the wave. So when the wave came pushing, like I was watching them, God, they were building Amazon literally. I lived in not South Lake Union, the lower Denny Regrade it used to be. So it's SLU now, but it's like Alley 24 by area. Yeah. So I was watching this construction happen out my window with Amazon. I wish I would have bought like one stock. But I just couldn't help but thinking back then, like, what am I going to do? Am I gonna get washed out with the wave? Because I could tell, man, I knew the students were gone. I could tell, way ahead of time. So I just, with limited resources, no credit and limited education, I just set my mind to doing something that could make myself useful for the next wave, like providing a service for the next wave. So that's where I went into, hospitality. And then that's why I transitioned into food trucks, because food trucks became a huge wave. We did Sweet Cakes and came up with a really cool concept, but it was just all about serving the city. I've always been there. I've always done that. And I don't want to say that doing Sweet Cakes was self-serving, but it was definitely more about, like, I was in the photos, I was in the pictures with my fam. Like it was like and being able to like focus on other businesses, the way that I would have loved someone to tell our story, the way that you tell stories, that's what I want to be a part of now. Wow. It really excites me because at the end of the day, everything we did for Sweet Cakes, it's amazing, it's great, but there's only like a handful of people that can really, really, truly appreciate all that shine. You know what I mean? That from our side. Now, in this business, it's the opposite. It's like everybody, like all that shine is going to all these people. So they're going to remember this. They're going to feel this and they're going to remember it, and that's just a great feeling, man. If I don't know what, maybe these companies are doing great. I can't say they're all suffering and they're all hurting. I don't know. But I can tell you that if this helps one Seattle business stay in 1 month longer and we can sustain it, then I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it because I have a passion to do it. Getting paid, you know, I'm saying I'll do it for now because I just want to see it succeed. So where it's at.
Oh, a passion for service. Nothing can beat that, man. I love it. It really is a game-changing aspect of, again, you see as the next wave. What can I do to prepare for the new wave? Right now, I see that as the internal stuff that's necessary for this new wave of existence that's coming. For society, with how everything's developing technologically, how everyone's growing, the interconnectedness of, or what used to be interconnectedness before censorship hit super hard in the internet. It's one of those things where, you know, we are trending towards an uplift all type of ideology. And I think this is a great understanding and knowing that, you know, these are the types of businesses that are going to need to be put in place for this type of world to exist. So I just want to say thank you for creating the new wave and being a part of that.
Hey, man, glad I could participate.
Well, it's one thing that stands out is that it takes a passion. It takes a passion to service. It takes a passion to do more, to be more, to have more, to really experience these types of opportunities and new wave understandings of existence. So I just want to say, how do you operate on the daily basis? Like, how does your mind work? I'm so curious, like how you see the world.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I have this really annoying habit of I wake up happy. I don't know where that comes from. It does not make any sense to me either. But I think I wake up just on the right side of the bed 360 days of the year. And I open my eyes and I think of 3 things that I'm thankful for before I let the day touch me. I'll sit there and I'll just kind of daydream like some good thing that's happening, some like a good thing, that person I know, some good situation. And I'll just reflect on those 3 because that kind of like just initially charges my battery. And then I get up and normally I would say my daily affirmations. I love to say this list of things that I've written. It evolves every year on my birthday. I change it and it's like slightly. And then for the next year. So this year I got smart and I recorded it. So now it's connected to my Siri or my Alexa. So say morning affirmations, and I start hearing all these positive things that in my own voice that I've written. So it's like my own little self-help tape or something. Lasts like 2 seconds. But that's actually really, really helpful. Like, dude, we forget who we are when we're sleeping. You wake up and you were just a great person when you go to bed. You wake up and you're like, what? Who are you? Like, you got to get yourself back in alignment with who am I? So I'm a patient person. I let others speak. I listen. I care about this and that. Whatever your things are. And so that's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, sure. And then you get up and you start your day. I get up early, and that's just, I didn't write the rules. This is what folks do when they're trying to get ahead, is they give them their energy first. Any job, we talk about a livable wage, and there's no possible way that a company would survive on giving you what you're valued at, truthfully. There's kind of a unspoken ratio that means that if I'm paying you $15 an hour, that means to my company, you're worth $45 an hour, right? Because 15 goes to you, 15 is going to go to the operational expenses, and then the company, by all usable standards, should be profiting. You know what I mean? So that's the way that structure works. So if you think about it, they kind of have us trained on this clock where, we sleep until the very, very last second. We time it to where, like, what time we have to be at our station. We time it so we can just get up and go straight there without any. So that means that we're going directly every day into giving someone else our best hours of it. Why do you think they have us come and work first thing in the morning? Because those are your most productive hours of your day. Everybody knows that. It's a fact. The first, when you wake up, you eat, those first 3 or 4 hours are your most energy, your most productive hours of your day. So, so they get that from us, right? And they get that from us at 1/3 of the value that those hours are actually generating. So you can assess your value to be $45 an hour. So when you're working for yourself, even though you're not getting paid, that's a $45 an hour investment versus when you're going and working there and that's a $15 an hour, you're getting that to pay your bills and all that. That's fine. So my idea is that in waking up and in giving myself my better part of the day first, I'm just more productive that way. So, you know, I don't do my workouts in the evening after I'm all tired at the end of my day and my coffee's worn off and now let's go to the gym, cramp, time to go home. You know, I mean, it's like, it's tough because that's what we've been trained to do. But what I do is I wake up early in the morning and I get mine in first, all my stuff first. And then, you know, by 9 a.m., I am in my desk, already working, brain going, and already got my workout. So when I get off of work, when I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know? But that way I don't miss. I can't make an excuse. There's no circumstances of my day that can get in the way, you know, and I'm taking my time and I'm valuing myself first. And I think that that's a big thing, but it's hard to do that because in order to do that, you have to change your sleep schedule. You got to be one of these people that goes, you know, willing to go to bed at 9 o'clock or something, you know, and that's not fun, but that's the sacrifice. When I talk about the sacrifice, it's like things that you wouldn't think of, like, oh, you're successful in business because you go to bed at 8:30. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that gives me a time of day where nobody will even answer their phone if I want a distraction. If I want to talk to somebody, nobody's going to talk to me because I'm just by myself. I have the world to myself. I can go shopping at the stores. Nobody's in my way. I can go, you know, do my little things right and like nobody's around. So that's actually, you know, you see it just by when you're out there. You're like, I'm alone in the world right now because I wake up at this time. And so I think that that's like a big key factor to how I get ahead is that I get ahead literally like 4 hours of the day. By the time most people are rolling out of bed, I'm already like well into it. And so that's I think that's a secret of success.
There were so many nuggets and just like subtle sprinkles of just some really profound just wisdom bombs, whatever you want to call it, wisdom nuggets. And I think the one thing that I want to highlight first of the many things that we got to talk about, we got to dissect that, is giving yourself your energy first. Nothing more important than that. How can you do anything for anyone else if you're not uplifting yourself?
Dude, yeah, you're giving away a third of the value. It's like get those golden hours. Those are yours. Take those. Don't give those away. They got you structured to give those away. And how they really throw us off, what they did before all this was with you know, the clubs. How is it that I'm supposed to wake up at 6 a.m. 5 days a week? You know, your body has a clock. When you throw that off and throw it back, it's not good for you. It keeps you a gerbil on a wheel. It keeps you treading water. So it's like, that's exactly it. It's like, I'm going to be back to work on Monday and I'm always going to be dependent on this job that's paying me 1/3 of my value. I'm always, because every weekend, got to have that work-life balance. That's the quote you out there. And so that's the quote they use to appeal to your inner feeling of I'm tired and I need some time to just relax. Everyone feels that way. You go, no, I'm tired, but I'm going to work. I'm not going to relax. You know, and that's hard to do when everyone, it's 8 p.m. it's the same time, it's 11 p.m. It's the same time I'm normally going to bed 5 days a week. But right now I'm going to put on my clothes and I'm going to go out and start socializing at 11 p.m. It makes no sense. It's throwing your clock off every single week to where you never, ever regain your balance and you never, ever can be your strongest. And I feel like that's sort of by design.
Ooh, I like that. And it comes back to the point too, where it's the conditionings and what you're soaking in, that structure just naturally ingrained in you that this is okay. But when you objectively look at it like this, nonsensical, doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Well, it's like we're circadian rhythms. Like we're optimized for 12 hours. You know what I mean? When you throw that, like the wheel in the, or you throw the wrench in the spoke, it's one of those things. You're done. And you lose the money, you lose that worth that you even had. So I don't know, man, that's next level.
Your expendable income all goes right back to the same systems, like through drinks, through cologne, through your hair done, through through the experience of just getting that little 2-day off. You've then most people have then drained their ability to collectively gather any money together or put any extra thought into doing something for themselves with it. Two birds with a stone by doing it. You know, it's like getting us night and getting us, and we're spending money on alcohol and whatever, that's like, it's like it's not allowing us to think of our escape plan, essentially, from the system. You have to be taking time to think of your escape plan. Have you ever seen Shawshank Redemption?
Oh yeah.
Like, when did that guy dig that whole tunnel underground? It's like he was doing that when everyone was asleep. That's the thing. If you want to escape, you have to, when everyone else is asleep, you got to be there with your spoon scraping at the dirt trying to get out of there. That's the thing is I'll spend time in that space just scraping and scraping and scraping, because I'm like, okay, I want to get to another level. I want to bring my family and my legacy and the things that my works to another level. And I'm not sure, you don't know what you don't know. So you just sit there, you just keep trying, and finally something will work eventually,
Well, it's putting yourself in the opportunity to receive that grace of that new idea, that new breakthrough, that new insight. And this is where I find it so amazing, because let's think about all the hours in the day when people are working, quote unquote, working, filled with meetings. How much of their work are they actually getting done? When you increase that clock, you're up the 4 hours that the world is silent, which is my favorite time. I'm right there with you in that early rise. It's just it's pitch quiet. You could drop a needle outside and you could hear it. You can hear the birds chirping from miles away. You know what I mean? It's that silence and serene. And it comes back to that point where, to me, that's where you get in alignment, when there's nothing around to distract you and you can really just marinate in yourself. That's getting in alignment to really just prepare yourself for how you want to live the day, not how jumping into the next, I guess what you just said earlier, where it's like you wake up, you go to work, where you're now in someone else's head, you're now in someone else's wheelhouse. You don't get to wake up and really remember who you are. You're right into problems and drama and chaos.
Immediately starts the programming. You hit that coffee, your brain starts going, and the radio's already on, the music's already on, the commercials are already on, everything's already telling you, like, this is what you think. This is the limitation of what you can believe. This is the walls and the barriers and the boundaries and the reality of who you are. And it's like, that's determined by you in those golden hours of the day. So if you give yourself that time, you can really decide, like, I am going to, either I like it here and I'm going to stay, or I'm going to figure out my plan and the escape plan to get out of this place. And that's when you start thinking of your plan and you start building your plan.
Yeah, and it's that Shawshank style where you're giving yourself that opportunity to make that progress each and every day, where it's not going to be like a overnight, all of a sudden it's magical switch. It's just going to be that thing that you're inching yourself closer and closer towards that future. Yeah. And that's what I love about it.
You said that. That's important for any entrepreneur, young, I would say, because the old ones know this already. There is no magic wand. There is no, everybody who starts a business has this picture. The day that they, cut that ribbon, here comes the line along we all picture. If they say they don't, they're lying. You know what I mean? They sold that picture to the investors. That's the video. That's the thing that they've replayed in their mind, the success story. It rarely pans out just like that. I mean, sometimes, there's a phenomenon where the minute something opens, it's long. But usually something opens and then there's another hill, another period of grinding and working hard just to get that flame ignited. You're here now, you're just like tending the flame, blowing on it, trying to get it bigger, And so it's not easy. I just said that to say that, be willing to sacrifice. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it to leave a legacy. It's worth it to, when somebody says what you've been up to, you always have a story because you're always up to something,
Right.
It's worth it because it's the only way that there's going to be a future for small businesses. These boys are right here. There's titans of the industry right now, and they're really ready to corner every market. So the only way to push back on that is for the grassroots, homegrown, small businesses to continue to be courageous, even in the midst of, I want to say, like terrible odds. Say the odds are, you start a restaurant, 10 years ago, you start a restaurant, there's 9 out of 10 go out of business in 3 years. Now I shudder to think what that looks like. I shudder to think what that number looks like. It's like 9.5 out of it. So I have a 0.5 chance of survival that I'm putting my life in. And people still must take that chance because they're not driven by your old facts and your old statistics. They're driven by something different. It's a passion. It's something that you cannot see. So that's, I just wanted to encourage that in young entrepreneurs is like, don't give up that spirit. Don't think because things are going on right now, we can't do, different businesses or still preserve our other businesses. There are many opportunities. Like with every drawback, there comes a whole new set of opportunities, and just keep your, look out for it.
100% facts. And that comes to just show, you mentioned the programming that we receive. The programming's already on with that first cup of coffee. The radio's already playing. Whatever drama we're telling ourselves about the day and work already starts rolling. Well, how did the name CacheBox come to be? I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, well, cache is kind of a familiar term, which is kind of a reserve. It's a place where, you put your valuables to be protected. And I think that that's sort of what this was. It's like I felt like we were creating this little valuable machine, and the community that we intend to protect, and the community that we want to support. They have tremendous value. They call this the Emerald City, and these are the little jewels and the gems these are the emeralds of the Emerald City, and so we got to keep them safe. We got to put them in a protected place. We got to showcase them, So that's just it.
Whew, I love it. That's a great way to put it, though. And I guess my final question, got to flip back through my notes from the beginning of this one. So my final question to you, Jesse. How's your life going?
Good question. It's going good, and I want to just real quick. Earlier, I wanted to mention, you were asking me about how I met these folks, and I was talking about the cold.
Yeah.
There's a woman named Angela Shin, who founded Savor Seattle Tours, and I believe she may have just sold Savor Seattle, but she has been a local Seattle fixture in the Pike's Place market since my first year as a concierge at the Pan Pacific. I used her, and then I used her company throughout my entire concierge career, because I knew that I could send people on specialized Seattle food tours, and they would always come back bravo, happy. Wine tours, chocolate tours, whatever you set them up. And so when I told Angela my idea, I didn't want it to feel like we were competing with Angela. She actually sells gift boxes with many of the same brands, but she was more than happy, more than glad to say, hey, I'd love to introduce you. And so she made some of those introductions. This is months and months ago, but she made some of those introductions happen for us. And that really opened the door, because I found that when people, when they knew her, they automatically were like, oh, friend of Angela, friend of mine. That was actually really helpful, a really helpful introduction. So I would be remiss if I did not mention the great Angela Shin.
Well, I'm happy you got the shout out in there, man.
Yeah, I had to get that in, because earlier I was like, oh, I did it all, and I didn't do it all. I was helped. So yeah. So sorry, last question.
How's life? Like, how's life with everything going on with all this stuff? Like,
it's weird. You caught me on a weird day. I think I have, like I said, like maybe 5 days a year where it's like, and it's usually, I think, right after the new year, where I get a little bit, just something kind of comes over me, I'm like, is Mercury in retrograde? What's going on? But it's really just like, I just have those. It's not, my happy streak cannot last every single day. So there's certain days I wake up and I'm a little bit, and maybe today, yesterday, maybe were some of those days. So, in general, life is great. I have nothing to complain about. My family is strong. My family is healthy. My kids are all doing well. The dog is great. My life is great. My life is great. I wouldn't trade places with anybody. I know that there's struggles. Sometimes bills have been a struggle. Obviously keeping, with the businesses and keeping all that stuff flowing is its own challenges. But it is what it is. You just do your very best, right? You do your very best.
Yeah.
You just know, like, they're not going to come and take your birthday away. Like, where there's life, there's hope. I'd be happy anywhere. So the fact that we've made it to this height and this level is just like, it's just extra. I just want to keep on going, but I'm not attached to the success as if it turned a corner, like with Sweet Cakes, I experienced that where it turned a corner, it became difficult, and I never felt a sense of failure because of that. I just know that that's what it is for now. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep going,
Well, the reason I asked that is because it seems like such a nonchalant question, but it's one that usually has the most ducking. I feel like, everyone's always likes to just tell the good things. But again, I just want to thank you for, your honesty and the transparency that you have, and just your mindset from how you approach life, just because it's ridiculous for everyone to demand that themselves always be happy and that they always, have certain XYZ characteristics. But I think the most important thing that I've gained from this conversation is, that you're giving yourself the opportunity to be who you are. And that's regardless of the situations and circumstances in life, but really just dedicating yourself to a life of your own growth and development and your own passions and really your own creativity. You live and manifest dope stuff like yourself, man. Like, I'm super stoked to see to see the CacheBox, these amenity boxes is really changing the game, man. And I'm just excited to see how it grows, next ones that are coming out, and ultimately the future for those next new regions. Like,
thank you.
Just get going, man. Congratulations.
Let's get it going. We're in a new day. It's 2021. This is the future. So the sky is the limit. There's all these opportunities for new ideas, and we should just keep the thinking caps on, keep coming up with new ideas and supporting each other and supporting local. That's the number one thing. Like, we're living in a time and a place now where we know better. We know better, so just do whatever we can do to get out there and support your local businesses, local artists, local anything. It's very important, especially now.
Well, your commitment to community is always seen, and I hope that the community comes out and turns up, not only for you, but all these 35 plus businesses you got lined up for us.
Man, it's going to be treats. I got treats.
Oh, yo, this is dope. Well, is there any last little words that you would like to tell the listeners, little shout outs or anything else?
Man, probably a list of them, man. But I haven't really thought of anything. Just like, I just want to say thank you to, Seattle in general for being such a great, such a great city. And, I love growing up here. I love being a part of the culture. I love being a part of the art scene. I love being a part of the food scene. And now, with this new thing, I feel like, a part of me will get to go home with each one of these items that people carry out of there. Like, a part of my love gets to go home with those. So, these items were all, everything we have is made by heart, selected by hand, and it's going to be brought to you to your convenience. So make sure to, get online and shout us out.
Oh, of course, man. Get a taste of Seattle with the CacheBox. I love it.
We've got a lot of, we have Black owned, woman owned, minority owned. We support, every facet of, progress in the city with this. And we're really willing to put our name behind that. Like, I want to be, as time goes on, we want to do a lot of give backs. We want to do a lot of community work. We want to do a lot of outreach and see if we can affect some broader areas with what we're doing here.
Well, you're bringing the farmers market experience to anywhere, so I don't see how it can.
Thank you for that vote of confidence. I truly appreciate it coming from you.
Dude, man, it's real recognizes real, as I so often say on this show. And it comes back to that point of, to create the future, you have to have these types of concepts. And this is what I honestly, the moment I heard it, I knew that was one of them. Because I was like, oh, dude, that really does eliminate so many issues. And it provides a new outlet for local businesses to thrive without any type of lease, rent. It's just, hey, we own the boxes. You have a property, hook us up.
Right. We can keep it local. We don't need everyone else all in our, in our distribution. There are many avenues of distribution that don't require us to, log in. We can just go downstairs now.
I love it. Well, let's get Rusty to hop in.
Hey, Rusty.
Hello. Hey. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I have to say, as an entrepreneur, I do have a lot of peer-to-peer respect for you, Jesse.
Thank you. Feelings mutual, Rusty.
Well, what you say is so truthful. I mean, it's you're not candy coating anything. There's no fluff. Hey, look, what I'm doing here is work. That's what an entrepreneur. I think I don't know who coined this, but they said you can tell who an entrepreneur is because they'll work 80 hours to avoid working 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so with that, I do want to add my final thoughts is thank you for supporting our community of entrepreneurs and small business and keeping this ecosystem going. That really is the key, is that we have to support each other, especially small businesses. And that's what I love seeing, is that it's a win, 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 because not only do you win, not only do the vendors win, but our community wins. And that, I believe, is the carrot that was dangling. It was like, how can everybody win? And you created that scenario. And I'd like to say thank you.
Man, from the
Love
bottom
it.
of my heart, you're welcome. On behalf of all Seattle, food vendors and small businesses, you're welcome.
So be sure to visit his website. And if you know of anyone that wants to get involved, reach out, contact Jesse. He's a great guy to have on your team. And with that, I'm going to end with you, the listener. You can be anything you want once your mind is made up. My question to you is, who is your mind maker upper?
It's your mind maker upper. I love it.
And everybody have a happy always.
Oh, yeah.
That concludes this episode of Creatives Chat. Thank you for watching. Join us every Thursday at 3:33 p.m. Pacific Daily Time as creative minds get together and chat about who knows what. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again to our sponsors for making this show possible. Thank you, LoyaltyGutterServices.com and WeAreHistorically.com. Conscious Human Apparel.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Thanks for joining us.